In the gilded corridors of Amalienborg Palace, where royal tradition meets modern scrutiny, a quiet yet seismic tremor has shaken the Danish monarchy. A plea, raw, emotional, and utterly human, has reportedly emerged from the lips of King Frederik X of Denmark. His words, "Don't leave me, Mary," have not only stunned palace insiders but have set off a national reckoning about the state of Denmark's most beloved royal couple. Behind the polished smiles and perfectly choreographed public appearances lies a storm of royal strain and emotional fragility that few dared to speak of, until now. Palace aides first noticed the tension long before the cameras caught on. Once inseparable, Queen Mary and King Frederik began appearing increasingly apart at key royal events. Queen Mary, stoic and dazzling, carried on with her duties, often alone. Her elegance masked something deeper. And then came the whisper. King Frederik begged her not to leave. Inside sources described it as an emotional moment that broke even the most hardened staff. The plea was reportedly made in private after a heated discussion in the royal wing, an argument that was, for the first time, audible beyond closed doors. In recent months, Denmark's royal watchers noted a pattern: solo engagements, carefully curated press releases, and smiles that didn't quite reach the eyes. Queen Mary was seen in New York promoting her foundation. King Frederik, meanwhile, embarked on official business without her, strikingly alone in Greenland, then again in Brussels. The question on everyone's lips: were they simply dividing duties, or dividing lives? Queen Mary, born Mary Donaldson in Hobart, Australia, captivated the world when she met Crown Prince Frederik during the Sydney Olympics. Their whirlwind romance defied class, country, and expectation. A commoner turned queen, Mary represented modern royalty. But fairy tales, even royal ones, are not immune to the weight of reality. Their wedding in 2004 was celebrated across the globe. Yet 20 years later, what began with a passionate promise seems to have reached a painful crossroads. Palace insiders confirm that Queen Mary has struggled under the expectations of queenship, especially following Queen Margrethe II's unexpected abdication. Now thrust into the role of queen consort, the spotlight intensified. No longer just Denmark's princess, Mary became the face of a new royal era, an era she may not have been fully prepared to lead without emotional cost. As her responsibilities increased, so too did the emotional distance. Sources close to the couple say Frederik became increasingly lost, watching as his wife grew in stature but drifted from his side. The moment Frederik allegedly uttered the words, "Don't leave me, Mary," was during a private confrontation reportedly sparked by Queen Mary's decision to extend her solo humanitarian trip in Australia. Insiders say Frederik, already sensitive from the pressures of his new role as monarch, was visibly shaken. He looked heartbroken, one courtier revealed. It wasn't the king speaking, it was the husband, the man, the father. Queen Mary and King Frederik share 4 children: Christian, Isabella, and twins Vincent and Josephine. Their family, once presented as a symbol of royal unity, now sits in an awkward spotlight. Christian, the heir apparent, recently took a more visible role at public functions, some say too soon for his age. Reports suggest Queen Mary has considered spending extended time in Australia with the children. The idea of her splitting time between hemispheres has deeply unsettled Frederik, triggering his emotional plea. Though Queen Mary has not publicly addressed the rumors, her recent speeches carry a tone that many interpret as reflective, almost regretful. Her speech, at a Copenhagen mental health summit in May, struck a deep chord. Even those who seem strong need space to breathe. Even those who smile may carry weight invisible to others. Was she speaking about herself? Denmark's royal house has remained silent, refusing to confirm or deny the growing reports. But behind the scenes, the palace's PR machinery is in overdrive. Carefully staged photo ops, family portraits, and joint appearances have become the new strategy, an attempt to maintain the image of stability. But the Danish public, known for their candor and love of transparency, is not so easily fooled. Danish citizens have flooded social media with concerns and opinions. One popular tweet reads, "If the king is begging the queen to stay, something is deeply wrong. They need support, not just duty." Another went viral, "Mary, if you need to go, go. But know that we understand." The royal family, once untouched by scandal, now stands exposed, more human than ever. The Danish monarchy has rarely experienced visible marital breakdowns. But across Europe, echoes of past royal heartbreaks loom. Prince Charles and Diana, Prince Joachim and Alexandra, even Sweden's Princess Madeleine's temporary move abroad. Could Queen Mary follow in those footsteps, away from the throne, but not from the crown? Royal watchers speculate. If Queen Mary chooses to relocate even temporarily, will it be seen as a soft form of exile? Historian Lars Gronbeck stated, "We could be witnessing a modern, silent royal separation, sanitized for media, but still emotionally devastating. If she goes, even part-time, it will shake the monarchy's foundation." What's more tragic? A queen who leaves, or a king who begs her to stay? This is the question haunting Danish society. King Frederik's plea was not a political move, it was personal. But in monarchy, the personal is always public. Sources confirm Queen Mary has been quietly investigating educational options for her younger children in Australia. Real estate agents in Hobart have also confirmed discreet inquiries on properties suitable for temporary royal residence. Is this a pause, or a permanent pivot? Observers note a clear change in Frederik's demeanor. Once known for his humor and warmth, he's appeared withdrawn. Aides describe him as deeply contemplative, almost haunted. Some say his transformation since the abdication has been profound, marked by loneliness more than leadership. Queen Mary's choices echo a new generation of royal women, independent, empowered, and unafraid to confront difficult truths. Like Queen Letizia of Spain and Princess Charlene of Monaco, she may be rewriting the script for what royal wives can endure, and what they won't. If Queen Mary does leave, even temporarily, it may break no constitutional laws. But it will shatter long-held royal norms. The image of a united monarch and consort is foundational to monarchy's appeal. Without it, the entire institution begins to look more like a family, and less like a fairy tale. Some speculate that Mary's growing independence and Frederik's emotional vulnerability created an imbalance. She grew into her global role. He, unexpectedly, felt abandoned. When he said, "Don't leave me," it wasn't just about geography. It was about the distance between two hearts once fused by love, and now separated by expectation. The Danish monarchy faces a defining moment. Will Queen Mary return to Australia? Will Frederik accompany her, or let her go? Will the monarchy survive another crack in its facade? Only time, and truth, will reveal the next chapter. But one thing is certain. The emotional cry of a king to his queen has pierced through centuries of royal decorum and landed squarely in the public's heart. Behind every queen is a circle of trusted confidants. While Queen Mary remains tight-lipped in public, friends from her university years in Tasmania and close allies from her charitable work have begun to break their silence, off the record but meaningfully. One longtime associate from her Mary Foundation said, "She's always been strong, but strength doesn't mean she hasn't suffered. There were times she felt alone in that palace, despite being surrounded by protocol." Reports suggest that Mary has leaned heavily on her friends abroad, particularly during her solo trips to the US and Australia. The phone calls have grown more frequent, and the conversations more personal, focusing less on her public role, and more on what truly makes her happy. To understand Frederik's vulnerability today, one must look into his past. The death of his father, Prince Henrik, left an indelible mark on the now king. Prince Henrik was known for his outspokenness, and his frequent expressions of dissatisfaction with palace life. Frederik once said in an emotional interview, "My father showed me that even in a gilded cage, the walls can close in." Now, as monarch, Frederik is navigating the same corridors that confined his father. Watching Mary withdraw may be triggering memories of watching his mother and father's fractured marriage play out behind closed doors, and in front of a nation. The emotional burden of this royal crisis doesn't fall solely on the king and queen, it's touching their children as well, especially 18-year-old Crown Prince Christian. Already in the spotlight as Denmark's future king, Christian has stepped into more official duties in recent months. But is the young prince emotionally ready to bear the expectations of a strained royal household? Court insiders have reported that Christian has grown distant and more introspective, even turning down several high-profile invitations to youth summits across Europe. Many believe he is shouldering the weight of his parents' emotional turbulence, something the public has yet to fully understand. While Danish media has long respected royal privacy, the wall between press and palace is cracking. Tabloids in Germany, Sweden, and the UK have already run headlines like, "Crisis behind the castle gates. Will Queen Mary leave the crown behind? Frederik's lonely throne." Even Denmark's more restrained outlets are now questioning the official silence. One editorial from Politiken read, "The people deserve clarity. If the monarchy is to remain respected, transparency must replace tradition." Social media, meanwhile, is ablaze with theories, clips, memes, and speculative threads dissecting every facial expression, every glance, and every sentence the royal couple utters in public. Since her abdication, Queen Margrethe II has maintained a low profile, retreating from daily royal duties. Yet many wonder what role the former queen may be playing behind the scenes. Known for her strength and stoicism, Margrethe ruled Denmark for over 50 years with a steady hand, and reportedly a firm grip on her children's public lives. Some royal watchers suggest that Margrethe's silence is intentional, not passive. A former palace historian observed, "Margrethe would not involve herself unless it were necessary. But if Mary were to leave, even temporarily, you can bet the former queen would intervene behind closed doors." Insiders say that a private family summit may be in the works at Marselisborg Palace, aimed at calming the storm and restoring some sense of order. What happens when the woman you love becomes the queen of a nation, and is no longer just your wife? This is the existential question haunting King Frederik. A romantic at heart, he has long admired Mary's strength and vision. But perhaps he underestimated the toll that such independence would take on their union. Palace. Sources confirm that Frederik has been reviewing his public calendar, even requesting to scale back several upcoming engagements. It's unclear if this is to repair his marriage privately, or to prepare for a new chapter entirely. Mary, on the other hand, is reportedly contemplating a unique arrangement, maintaining her role as queen consort while being based part-time in Australia. If approved, this would set a monumental precedent, one where a modern queen can reign from abroad, bridging two continents. But is Denmark ready for such a royal evolution? As the nation watches with bated breath, the Danish monarchy faces a defining choice: preserve the appearance of unity at all costs, or allow its leading figures the grace to be human. King Frederik's emotional plea, "Don't leave me, Mary," was not just a moment of vulnerability. It was a siren call heard around the world. Now, with global attention fixed on the House of Glucksburg, every step the king and queen take is historic. Will Mary choose her personal well-being and independence, risking the sanctity of her marriage and the stability of the monarchy? Will Frederik choose to follow her, even if that means loosening his grip on royal tradition? Or will they find a third way, a way that preserves both crown and connection, duty and desire? Can true love survive inside a palace of porcelain expectations and golden cages, or will Queen Mary's silent strength and King Frederik's desperate heart finally break the royal fairy tale apart? Tell us in the comments what you think Queen Mary should do next. Should she stay, leave, or rewrite the rules of royalty? Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment for more explosive royal revelations and emotional truth behind the crown. You've just witnessed the most human moment in Danish royal history. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.